Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining me today as we discuss Cisco's latest innovations in the SP space. By way of introduction, my name is Michael Beesley. I am CTO for the service provider business at Cisco. We're the part of the company that are focused on driving the innovations up and down the stack with regard to technologies, solutions, and products aimed at service providers, content companies, hyperscalers, and others that are building some of the biggest networks in the world in preparation for the Internet of the future. As we know, the service provider space is an interesting, challenging business with many opportunities in front of it. As far as the Internet's growth is concerned, we're really in the teenage years, if you like, with regard to the Internet. Despite exponential growth over the last 30 years or so, the network and the connectivity continues to grow at record levels. And as we see continued innovation in the access layers, whether that be innovations in DOCSIS for cable, innovations in PON, innovations in Wi-Fi, and of course innovations in mobility with regard to 5G, we see the ability more and more to bring more bandwidth, more connectivity, more users, more devices onto the network. We certainly, over the next few years, we expect the percentage of people actually connected to the Internet to go up to 60%. The average number of devices per user will go up to roughly 3.5 devices per user. And of course, we will see exponential growth with regard to machine-to-machine connections as the fourth industrial revolution continues, and as every device, both in the consumer context as well as the enterprise context, becomes smart and connected, driving more connections and driving more bandwidth onto the network, with average broadband speeds getting up to 75 megabits per session by 2022. As we see this exponential growth in bandwidth and connectivity, there remains a set of economic challenges for our service provider partners. They need to deliver this increased bandwidth, this increased connectivity, with relatively flat capital budgets. That means that every dollar of CapEx that they invest, that dollar invested in equipment, invested in transport gear, needs to move an order of magnitude more bytes across the network than it did just a few years ago. Today, most service providers have a ratio of 5-to-1 with regard to operational expense to actual CapEx on kit and transport equipment. This obviously puts a significant burden on the financials of the service provider and on the business model. Driving that number down from 5-to-1 down to 3-to-1 or 2-to-1 is a priority for Cisco as we innovate across the portfolio, and making sure that all aspects of the operational cost come down, both the human operational cost, the automation in the network, as well as the actual power budget for the network. As we look forward, it's imperative that we address both the CapEx and the OpEx challenges, and we create new revenue opportunities and new business opportunities such that service providers can produce new revenue streams and new profit pools off of the significant investments that they make in their networking infrastructure. Recently, we launched a set of innovations up and down the stack that are really aimed at changing the economics of these networks, of these mass-scale WAN networks, that are the foundation of the Internet and will be the foundation of the Internet of the future. These innovations span the silicon domain, where we have announced a set of silicon technologies that have been many years in the making to really revolutionize the economics and the bandwidth that we can deliver. A set of routers, a set of infrastructure that uses that silicon to deliver best-of-breed bandwidth and connectivity at industry-leading power consumption levels, along with the next generation of our embedded operating system, XR7, streamlining and simplifying that OS, making it easier to use, making it smaller, faster to deploy, more reliable, along with a set of optic modules and new business models around optics to be able to drive connectivity and cost-effective connectivity to the routers at 400 gig and beyond, as well as continued evolution of our subscriber management stack, all wrapped in the industry's most comprehensive automation portfolio to ensure intent-based, seamless, cost-effective, and reliable operations of the infrastructure. With Silicon One, we're very proud of what we've achieved with regard to this silicon. It is industry-leading, both in terms of bandwidth, being twice as capable as the next silicon in the industry, as well as being able to process packets at an elevated level, 3 times faster than the next competitor in the industry. The silicon is also unique in the ability to be able to operate in different modes depending on how it is used. It can operate as a standalone network processor in a small pizza box router. It can operate obviously in line card mode, where half of the silicon is dedicated to running the front port Ethernet interfaces, and the other half of the chip is running the fabric interface from the line card to the fabric element. And it's also able to run as a standalone fabric element, being the fastest fabric element in the industry today, used within a modular chassis. The Silicon One family comes with a unified SDK along with a P4 forwarding interface that allows customization and easy programming of the actual device. Along with the innovation in the silicon itself, we also have innovated with regard to our business models. And we're happy to announce that we are now willing and capable of providing the Silicon One family as a merchant chip to partners, to vendors, to large customers that want to build systems themselves around this silicon. Obviously, we use it internally as well for our own products, but we are also announcing the ability to provide it as a merchant chip along with the software SDK to allow others to build systems and to build solutions around that actual silicon engine. We also last month announced the 8000 series of routers that are built with the Silicon One engine at the heart of these systems. It's a full portfolio of routers spanning 1RU integrated systems all the way up to modular chassis that are both 8, 12, and 18 slots. These systems are high performance, optimized for 400 gigabit and beyond connectivity, with the 1RU system being able to deliver 10.8 terabits of bandwidth in a 1RU system at 500 watts, which is significantly industry-leading. The system has been designed to be operationally efficient, in particular, very power efficient. It has industry-leading power consumption per gigabit transmitted, allowing for greatly reduced operational costs. The other aspect that was a priority for us as we were designing and developing the 8000 series was to ensure that it is the most trustworthy and secure family of infrastructure products in the market. All of these products have a hardware root of trust embedded within the actual system design that can be used to verify the authenticity of the hardware, ensure that all modules inside of the system were manufactured by Cisco, were authentic, and were correctly supplied by Cisco, as well as being able to use that hardware anchor to do full measurement and full attestation of all software that is loaded onto the system. These measurements and this attestation can be used to send the telemetry northbound to a cloud service that we use to verify and to attest to the integrity of the system and to ensure that all software running on the embedded systems is authentic, is malware-free, was properly published assigned and released by Cisco, making the 8000 series the most trustworthy, the most secure routers in the industry. Along with the Silicon and the 8000 series, we recently released the next version of our embedded OS, XR7. We've worked to make this a simpler, more optimized, more reliable embedded software. It takes from a memory footprint point of view, it is 50% less than previous versions of the software. That results in boot times that are 50% faster. The image sizes themselves have been reduced greatly with a reduction of 40%, and that results in increased efficiency and faster load times. XR7 is a modern network OS with several layers of APIs allowing easy configuration, easy management, and easy customization of the actual software. It also supports the ability to have the customer can customize images, selecting the subsystems and the modules that they need and that they want inside of their routers, depending on the feature set and the services that are being offered off of that network and off of those routers. As I previously noted, the 8000 series comes with a hardware root of trust. The XR7 software takes advantage of that root of trust to be able to verify the signatures of all of the software being loaded onto the device, ensuring that that software was correctly published and correctly signed by Cisco. It also offers the option for customers to self-sign, in addition to the Cisco signatures, to be able to self-sign their images such that we can do a double verification of the signing of the software, verifying the Cisco signature as well as the actual customer's signature. As XR7 runs, it continues to take measurements, it continues to verify the integrity of the software down at the process level and sends those measurements, sends those attestation records northbound to a cloud service that is used to visualize and to verify those signatures to ensure that the software is as it was intended to be on the actual devices, that it remains malware-free and is exactly as the customer configured. With regard to optics, we continue to make significant investments in optical modules. It's interesting, as each generation of technology has come and as we've stepped up in speed, we've seen a significant shift of total BOM costs with regard to the solution towards the optical modules. In previous generations, the router itself was actually the majority of the cost, with the optical modules maybe contributing 10 or 20% of the cost. As we look forward to the 400 gig era, that equation has flipped significantly to the point that the actual cost of the router is a minority of the total BOM costs, with the optical modules representing a significant portion of the actual total BOM cost. As such, driving innovation, driving cost reduction, driving integration around the optical modules is a significant priority for us. We continue to make significant organic R&D investments, as well as you can see on the slide, significant inorganic investments with regard to mergers and acquisitions to make sure that we've got the most compelling and the most industry-leading solutions around optical modules. We also are expanding our business model in this regard as well. Obviously, Cisco-sourced optical modules are certified and verified for use on Cisco hosts. We have expanded that to the point that we now are willing and able to certify Cisco optical modules not only on Cisco hosts, but also on third-party and sometimes competitive equipment, such that if a customer so desires, they can use Cisco optical modules on third-party platforms that are not from Cisco. That really helps to drive the reliability, the levels of integration, and the total cost effectiveness of the solution for the customer. As we go forward, we've got a significant focus on being able to provide wafer-scale integration of the optical technology and the silicon technology that is used for network processors, as well as driving towards a highly automated manufacturing process to the point that we can take significant cost out of the process of assembling and testing optical modules, resulting in a more cost-effective solution for our end customers. Along with those innovations in silicon, systems, embedded software, and optics, we continue to drive the industry's most complete automation portfolio, such that our customers have all the tools they need for day -1 operations with regard to architecting, designing, and planning the network, day 0 operations with regard to driving intent-based configuration into the network with regard to the services that the customers are offering off of that network, and then the day 1 tools to facilitate correct and cost-effective operations of that network, taking the analytics off of the network to allow rapid fault detection, rapid understanding of the underlying root causes, and then the rapid remediation of problems in the network. As part of the XR7 launch, we also are bringing to market 2 new cloud services to augment and to facilitate the operations of these networks. The first is the Integration Qualification Environment, which is a cloud-based SaaS service that allows our customers to upload their network topology, their equipment choices, their services, their features, and their configuration into a cloud service, along with a set of identified test suites that we will then run on their behalf in the back end of that cloud service, either in a fully virtualized manner or using physical test beds that we have in our test labs that allow our customers to rapidly verify new hardware, new configuration, new embedded software that they are then going to use in their network. This greatly reduces the time to qualify, the time to test both new hardware and new software in the actual network, allowing our customers to deploy more rapidly the new technologies that we are delivering to the market. The second cloud service that we recently announced is a service called Trust Insights. It is the SaaS service that takes all of the telemetry, all of the attestation measurements off of the XR7 equipment that is using the hardware root of trust to take all the signatures of all the packages and all the processes and all the software that is running across the full fleet of routers that make up the network, such that those attestation records can be visualized, you can run analytics on those records, and you can do alarming and alerting on any software processes or any software packages that are actually inside your infrastructure that have unknown hashes or incorrect hashes, such that they can be verified, they can be remediated, ensuring that the network runs malware-free, remains as trusted and as secure as possible. As we drive all this innovation with regard to the fundamental transport, being able to produce a very high bandwidth, very cost-effective transport fabric, we continue to drive innovations with regard to the subscriber management stacks across cable, wireline, and mobility. Our customers have asked for significant simplification and significant unification of, in particular, the control planes for these subscriber services. And we continue to evolve all 3 of our offerings to a consistent design pattern where we offer the control plane as a fully cloud-native, cloud-resident control plane that is built with containers with a microservices design, allowing ease of deployment and very cost-effective deployment onto commodity x86 hardware. Along with that, we continue to evolve the user plane functions of all 3 of these stacks, allowing that user plane to be deployed onto remote compute and or into network elements themselves to actually augment the processing and to be able to facilitate the high bandwidth and low latency requirements of the user plane function, allowing that function to get distributed into the metro and the aggregation parts of the network, much, much closer to the consumers, much, much closer to the eyeballs and to the users of the actual network. And this is very significant given the trends that we see with regard to traffic patterns, in particular the continued rise of consumer video being the dominant traffic pattern on these networks, with some analysts saying that by 2022, up to 80% of all traffic on the network will actually be consumer video. So being able to do that termination and having that user plane function much, much further out in the network, along with CDN services and other caching services, allows that traffic to be dealt with in the most cost-effective manner, also with the highest levels of customer satisfaction and quality of experience for the actual end user. As we drive towards cloud-native subscriber management on top of a next-generation silicon-driven software-defined transport network, we're also driving the distribution of compute and storage throughout the network. We see several usages for this compute and storage. The first is infrastructural components of the network, whether it be the user plane function, caching and CDN services, subscriber management stacks, and so forth. The second usage that we see for the compute and storage is actually the emerging space of third-party applications that can take advantage of this edge cloud as it develops. The applications that facilitate autonomous cars and autonomous transportation, AR, VR, higher levels of quality and fidelity and resolution with regard to the consumer video, and so forth. All of these innovations combine to form a solution that has powerful economic advantages to our service provider customers. We see an up to 39% improvement of OpEx with regard to the full automation and the significant power reductions in the network that technologies such as Silicon One and the Cisco 8000 deliver. With the automation portfolio, along with our software-defined transport, we see up to a 60% improvement of total cost of ownership with regard to our network and the operational costs that our customers bear with regard to deploying and operating these networks. With regard to being able to pre-verify and run automated test suites in a cloud-delivered manner, we see the ability to deliver services much, much faster, with up to an 81% improvement in time to service. With that, I'd like to run a short video that demonstrates the power of all these innovations combined with our customer success portfolio that allows us to partner with our customers to drive innovation and technology and to be able to produce next-generation networks that they themselves will become part of the internet for the future. With that, could we run the video, please?
April 16th, 2018. This is Tokyo. This is Rakuten. These are Cisco executives invited to a meeting with Rakuten. This is Tarek Amin, CTO of Rakuten Mobile. This is Prakash Suthar, team leader from Cisco Customer Experience.
Namaskar. Good morning.
This is a story about doing something that's never been done before.
Prakash, I need someone to help me build the world's first end-to-end cloud-native network. We need a partner.
Let's do it.
In order for this to work, it has to be optimized for 5G.
We'll design it from scratch.
Fully automated.
Fully virtualized.
Cloud.
Core.
Transport.
Virtual RAN.
Everything. It will be the first of its kind.
Oh, yeah.
You can figure it out?
We can figure it out.
This is their idea. It's an ambitious idea. An unprecedented idea.
It's true.
But this is what industry executives called it.
Impossible.
But that didn't stop them. That just made them hungry.
So Prakash, how about developers?
We'll create a platform.
Different systems.
Different partners
Working together.
What else?
This is the plane that took the Rakuten team to San Jose.
Okay, so it takes 3 weeks to implement a traditional radio site.
With automation, we can do it in 10 minutes. And more secure.
Zero touch.
Zero defect.
Ready for 5G.
Just upgrade the software.
This is Tarek's impressed face. This went on for months.
We're going to need new hardware,
Then we'll partner with your vendor.
but our design?
You got it.
Then Tarek said,
And we want you to manage the whole chain, oversee the integration of vendors and partners.
February 3rd, 2019. This is Rakuten and Cisco and their impossible idea making their first call.
これ綺麗だね。Oh my god.
And the world just changed. Rakuten and Cisco customer experience. The right solutions, the right technology. Most importantly, the right people. Between ideas and invention, there's a bridge. Cisco, the bridge to possible.
Very good. Indeed, Cisco. And all of you, you make it possible. With that, thank you very much indeed.